I got us.
Good morning,
He got
everyone.
paid.
Welcome to
I would like that contract too, but I'm not.
who wouldn't? Welcome to the No Particular Order podcast and our special guest. As if you could not tell by the sign, Kyle's in Canada. Our Canadian guest today, because Shannon, hopefully, not hopefully, does anyone remember the Blair Witch Project? Like, I never really saw the whole thing. That's my head. What's happening to Shannon right now? He's out in the woods somewhere with his camera, shaking his camera, and it's probably going to be really great footage on his Instagram. So, you should probably go look at Shannon's Instagram account
I
to
guess it
see.
is October, so it would be that. I was thinking more positive, like that Eddie Vedder movie, Into the Woods and Into the Wild. I don't think
Didn't
it's
he
Eddie
die
Vedder.
at the end?
I don't know. I don't even. I've never actually
He
seen it.
dies at the end.
Okay.
The one that Eddie Vedder sings the song
Yeah.
to? Yeah, the kid dies, like,
Okay.
alone. He dies alone in that
All right.
van.
Well, sorry for the spoilers, folks.
Well, Shannon's not
morning.
alone. They're celebrating someone's birthday, one of his friends' birthday. So he's technically not alone. And the Blair Witch, I think there were like 3 or 4 of them, right?
I thought there were 3 of them. Yeah.
Get picked off one by one. Okay, first of all, was there anyone of color in the Blair Witch Project? Because I don't imagine. It's like the scary movies, right? Like,
I mean, there were 3 actors, so no, I don't think so. I think they
like,
were all white. I haven't
they were
seen
all
them all,
white.
but I
See,
thought so.
that's what happens. Like, any respectable person of color is not A, staying out in the woods, Shannon, and B, you go into a haunted house. That's why I can't watch haunted house, because I know it's not true. You go into a house and you know it's haunted, you're like, adios. I'm out. Yeah. I mean, I love ghosts as much as anyone else, but
It's a very white person thing to, because Blair Witch Project, they know the forest is haunted. And they're trying to go to find what it is, right? To
yeah,
like
why?
willingly put yourself into this place where people die and there's all sorts of scary stuff. Like,
Leave it be.
yeah.
Leave it alone. Let the hunt. If they're scary haunted, there's a reason that they want to kill people. So I don't even get it. Tell me what, Kyle, how are you? Sorry. How was your Thanksgiving? Oh,
Oh, it
wait.
was great. Yeah, my in-laws were here, so shout out to Steve and Tammy. They're great. They're great in-laws. They raised a great daughter, which is why I married her. But yeah, super fun. We watched the Ticats game together. They utterly destroyed the Saskatchewan Roughriders. That was pretty
All
rough
right.
for
You
Saskatchewan
watched
fans.
what together? I'm sorry.
The Ticats game, CFL game last weekend. Utterly destroyed.
Okay.
So yeah, so that was the. I would argue it was like the best game the Ticats played all year. So glad that my in-laws got to see like a good version of the Ticats. So they lost last night.
Oh, well, that's not a good story.
Yeah, they're still going to make the playoffs. They're in. So
Okay. Better story.
Locked into their 3rd seed, so they're not going to host. They are hosting the Grey Cup, so if they host any playoff game, it'll be the Grey Cup if they get that far.
Is the Grey Cup a good thing? Because that doesn't sound like it's.
Oh, that's the Super Bowl for the CFL.
Why is it gray?
The name of the person who donated the trophy was Dr. Gray. So yes,
That makes
it's
sense.
yeah.
Okay. That should have been your lead, but whatever.
I mean, it's the color. I think it's a silver grayish color. So, Ticats wear gray at times too. It's their like 3rd alternate jersey.
I was watching the Manning stream because I
On
cannot
Monday.
take.
Oh yeah. Oh boy. I'm also a Packers fan, so that wasn't fun either.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bring up the game. But they were talking.
I'm about to do the Packers podcast after this and talk about it anyway, so it's fine.
Traumatized. They were the Mannings, for some reason. I don't even know why they got on the subject of the. Oh no, it wasn't that game. Wait, was that game in Vegas?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, it was that game because
Because
the hockey guys that won had the cup.
Yeah.
And so Peyton and Eli were having this discussion on whether they had drank out of the cup or not.
Oh, definitely. Everyone drinks out of the cup. No,
that's
sure.
Disgusting. First of
all,
it
is. But
that's so disgusting.
Hockey players and athletes in general are kind of disgusting.
And Eli
Bloody
said,
men in all their activities and stuff. So yeah,
you can't drink out of the cup unless you're with a player who won it. Like they gave him I don't know why he.
Oh, I mean, I would argue if you didn't win it, you can't drink out of the cup. That should be reserved to just the players. Like,
well, no, I mean, Peyton said he drank out of it. He drank beer out of it, and Eli was like, and he asked Eli.
He's won a Super Bowl. You can't actually drink out of the Super Bowl, so we'll give it to Peyton because he hasn't got that experience, even though he is a champion.
And Eli, he's won a Super Bowl.
I mean, he's got 2. Apparently, he's not as good as Donovan McNabb, though. Check out the Speak on It pod for those discussions.
That was crazy. That was a crazy talk. But Eli said, like, for some reason, he had the cup without any of the players. And he asked them, I guess before they gave it to him, if he could drink out of it. And they're like, no, you have to have a player with you before you can drink out of the cup. So he grabbed one of the players and was drinking out of the cup. And I find it very disgusting that everyone is drinking out of this same cup. It's is it the same cup or do you get a new one every year?
Oh, it's the same one. There are replicas.
Okay,
There are
that's
2 or 3 cups that exist, but I'm pretty sure the ones that travel around with the players is the legit real cup.
okay. I'm gonna vomit. Um, so let's move on. Kyle, what was the best thing that you saw this week?
Well, I was going to talk about how JT got paid, baby, which is good. He finally got his contract. He's one of the best running backs in the league. Certainly deserved it. But honestly, the best thing I saw was probably the Las Vegas Aces offense in the
Oof,
fourth quarter of game one and
oof,
the first quarter of game two.
oof.
They ended game one in just such a dominant way. And then
Yeah.
I've heard Guy Boucher. He's an NHL coach, former
Okay.
head coach. He's currently an assistant coach with the Toronto Maple Leafs, and I've heard him do a lot of podcasts and stuff. And he's talked about momentum between games doesn't exist. Like it's this myth. There's so much. You're spending 2-3 hours in this game, and then you're gonna have to wait 2-3 days for another game. Like there's no way that momentum can carry all the way over.
Okay.
That being said, the Vegas kind of Aces sort of looked at that, saying, "Nope, momentum
Hold my
exists."
beer. Yeah.
They're I mean, it's one of the greatest seasons in WNBA history if they can finish this off either Sunday or in the next 2 or 3
No,
games.
they're gonna
If they
finish it
win
off.
this title, is truly one of the best seasons we've ever seen. So there's a
Yeah,
reason for that. This team was awesome.
it is awesome. And if you guys haven't watched WNBA, like you probably need to just turn in Sunday to watch the game. I know you're going to watch football, but just watch some of it. Like this team, the Las Vegas Aces, are dominant. Like the women on this team, how many number one picks they have? I think like their entire team, maybe like their starting five is at least number one picks.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. They're ridiculous. And even if you don't like sports, hi Terry. No connection there. Even if you don't like sports, just you can watch it for like 5 minutes and watch how dominant they are. It's just totally ridiculous. But the
I also
best.
saw.
Go
Sorry,
ahead.
just one of the
No,
things
go ahead.
that, especially early in game two, was how often Asia Wilson
Mm.
was defending Brianna Stewart, and like literally maybe the 2 best women basketball player in the world, like going one on one in terms of their coverages against each other.
I
I
have a
thought
theory
that
on
was
that. My theory is that Asia Wilson is pissed that she didn't win the MVP and Brianna Stewart did, and that is why she is showing up and showing out so much in this series. Because
yeah.
yeah,
Brianna offensively did not have a great game, which
no,
is what we're typically
well,
used to seeing from her. And it seems like being guarded by Asia Wilson a lot gave her a lot of tough shots, not giving her any good easy looks. In the second, like starting the second quarter, the New York offense seemed to play better, and I think they tried to design the offense so that they could get Stewart away from Asia. Like they really,
yeah,
man, like what a, I know it's not spelt like the continent, but my God, she is a beast of a human being, and she's just so good at basketball that like she takes up space like it's an entire continent, like of the continent of Asia, and it's just so hard to score against her. So that like New York really went out of their way to, okay, like we need to get Stewart off of her. We need to get her on the opposite side of the court. And
and
I mean, it went well in the second quarter, but then the third
yeah,
quarter came in and
it
Aces
was
just
it
took over
was
again.
it was a massacre. It was a bloodbath. But and two, for these people who don't like sports, Terry again, watch the very beginning and they do like a fashion show of what the ladies are wearing when they come in. And some of them are really like some of them really dress out. Like Chelsea Plum, she's always looks good. Asia always looks good. But okay, another theory. It's hard not to look good when you're like 6'1" and fit and hot. You know what I mean? Like they probably could have thrown a paper bag on all of them and they'd be like, oh, that looks really good on you.
Pretty
Uh,
sure I've got the paper bag princess book back there. Yeah, I agree.
um, did you watch the CU game last night?
No, I was watching CFL, Ticats
No.
game, and then there was a Saskatchewan Calgary, and that game huge
Oh
for
my God.
playoff implications. There's only one playoff spot left in the CFL. And it's basically between those 2 teams. If Calgary lost last night, that would have essentially given it to Saskatchewan.
But they won, I take
But
it, by the way
yeah,
you said that.
Calgary won, so now they've got 2 games left. They're a game back of Saskatchewan, but Saskatchewan has a bye week coming up, so they only have 1 game left. So it's yeah, the race for that one last playoff spot has certainly heated up these last couple weeks. Because Saskatchewan, they did this last year. They
Saskatchewan.
started the
I have a
season.
Saskatchewan jersey.
I mean, that would make sense. It seems like they're the team that is the most marketable. Like I remember one year, like it's like 3/4 of CFL merchandise was Saskatchewan Riders in terms of the total sales for the entire year. Like
Yikes.
it's the one team because the province of Saskatchewan doesn't have any other professional sports teams. They've
Oh,
got a few junior hockey teams, which are pretty major, but essentially that the entire province are Rough Riders fans because that's all they have.
uh,
And it permeates throughout the whole country. There's a lot of other fans. I know one of my friends, Zane. He's from Ontario. He doesn't really have an allegiance. He's a Giants fan. Doesn't have specific allegiances to any team. He's a Rough
right.
Riders fan. So it's one of those teams that just like it's like the Steelers. Like you've got Steelers fans all over the country. Rough Riders fans, same thing. So it makes sense. You're both a Steelers fan and have Rough Riders gear. But anyway,
Well,
they
I didn't buy it. Someone gave it
oh
to me. One of the
okay.
players gave it to me when he came into the bar, and
Oh
it said
cool.
Rough Riders, and I was like, "Can I have that?" And he's like, "Yeah."
Do you know what player?
Yeah, no. Oh, it was this was a couple of years ago,
Mhm.
and I know he went to Baylor. That's all I know.
Yeah, I don't
This
know
is
the
a few
college
years
as
ago.
well.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't know. I can't help.
okay.
But all to say, like last year, Saskatchewan started the season. I think it was 4-1. Like they were okay. They're rolling,
Uh-huh.
and they finished the year 3-10. Like after that point on, and they so the total record of 7-11, and they missed the playoffs.
Oh, Jared, you're so nice.
Yeti,
Yeti, so sweet. So sweet. And his name is Yeti, so how can you go
like
wrong?
big cuddly Yeti. Aw.
The cuddly Yeti. No, I have no idea who it was. They were coming. I don't know why they were coming through. The team was coming through Denver. I guess they're going back home, or it was before the season. I really don't remember
There's a
the
lot of
specifics.
American players in the CFL.
Yeah, and I remember he went to Baylor is the one thing I can remember about him.
Okay,
Because it was yeah,
and that he played for Saskatchewan.
well, Rough Riders, yeah, sure. It was the sure,
But
yeah.
a rough ride for them because again they started the year pretty hot, like looking okay, they're probably gonna make the playoffs again, and now they for the second year in a row might totally collapse the second half of the season and miss it. So
Speaking of collapsing second half,
uh-oh.
CU at
Uh-oh.
Stanford. So I didn't even know the CU game. I thought it was on today because that's how much I follow college football. But I was watching something and I turned it off. I was watching something on Hulu and I turned it off. I wasn't watching Only Murders in the Building, Terry. I was watching something else. And I and when you turn off like, the streaming, whatever channel you have on is on. So ESPN was on and CU was on. And,
You got paid. Sorry. I keep
and
interrupting.
that's okay. You're fine. And the CU game was on, and so I'm watching it, and what Stanford's 1-4, CU is like whatever they are, and I'm like they're showing all the celebrities that show up to the CU game now because of Prime, and they're up 29-0, and I'm like beat down tired, and I'm like okay, 29-0, it's like almost halftime. I'm gonna lay down till like 11, get up, finish some work I had to do, and I lay down and I get up and it's like 3:30 and the game's still on because Stanford came back and it was 43-43 double overtime. I'm like, how is this? I thought that, how ESPN like replays games. I'm like, are they replaying this game? Oh no. 3:30 in the morning, CU is still playing because they let Stanford come. It's like the biggest comeback in Pac 12 history or something. Come back and beat them in double overtime, 46-43. I'm like, okay. This is the second time that they've like collapsed in the second half. And I'm not I mean, like I don't follow college football as well as I should. And it's just that Prime and his son are a good story. And that Hunter kid, the two-way plays both offense and defense. I saw like 20 minutes of him. Like he just came back from that injury. He's awesome. Like he is good on like legitimately good on both sides of the ball. It's not like it's a stunt to put him out there.
Yeah, he'll have the
He,
opportunity to kind of each and every NFL team will kind of have the opportunity. Do we want him as a corner? Do we want him as a wide receiver? So he could that
do
could
you
just
think
raise
he
his
can
draft stock.
play that? Can you think he can go both sides in the NFL?
No, I think each NFL team will kind of evaluate what do they think he's better at, and then have him focus on just that. Maybe not. Maybe he is the first one to well, not the first one. Again, they used to play 60 minutes back in the 40s and
Right.
50s. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah,
he's
I doubt
legit
it just
good.
because of how tough it is to do that. Like you can maybe get away with that in college, but in the NFL against like grown men NFL players snap out, like that seems like that would be difficult. So, but it'll be interesting because I'm sure certain teams might want him as a receiver, other teams might want him as a corner. So uh, he
And
probably wants to be a receiver to get that wide
yeah,
receiver money that
that
the
wide
receivers
receiver
seem to be
money.
getting. So he might push for that.
Well, he gets a touchdown, right? and I'm not sure what religion he is, but on the back of the he goes down on his knees at the back of the end zone, and he got called for it. They called for excessive celebration, and he got penalized for it. I'm like, well, that's taking the prayer out of the league. That's what, there you go.
I mean, there was the talk of, Kaepernick going on a knee and he gets him banned from the league. Tim Tebow did it, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, it's
Oh,
amazing!"
something is
So like,
amazing.
yeah, let's be
He's so
consistent.
pious.
I'm okay with it. I mean, I think fining for excessive celebration is kind of stupid, but if they're gonna do it. So that's the rule.
I
That's the
think it's
rule.
very stupid. I think if you can show me Taylor Swift cheering in the box every time someone does a play, they can excessively celebrate whatever they want to do in the end zone.
Oh, they're not making money off the players celebrating, although they might. They do viral videos and stuff, but yeah, they're making way more money off Taylor Swift.
Oh,
If Othani can do it, so could he. I'm
yeah.
insulted that you think baseball and football are the same sport, Yeti. Come on, let's be real.
Oh, Yeti.
And I mean, honestly, like, the thing with Otani is he can't do it over the full season. Like, he gets
Yeah.
elbow inflammation, and then he has stretches of seasons where, okay, he's done pitching, he's just going to hit. So even Otani can't actually do it for 162 games. So yeah, that makes me want to say even double down, and that there's no way Hunter is a 60-minute player. He'll pick one or the
Um,
other. Maybe teams will pick that for him. Maybe
yeah.
it'll be something where, okay, in this game, like, if we need you to be a corner in certain games because guys are injured, we'll flip you to that side of the field for this game. Like, he might be able to do that in his career. I just don't think he's going to do both in the same game.
Doesn't someone already do that? Doesn't Isn't there someone in the league that can play two ways?
Isn't it like Patrick Ricard from the Ravens, where he plays sometimes as a fullback and sometimes as a defensive lineman?
Yeah, I think that's what
He
it is.
also I guess it depends. Like, if
Maybe.
you play, because he's not playing every snap either. Like, they're not
Right.
always having a fullback on the field. They don't always, they only bring him in as defensive tackle, usually in like red zone packages and stuff. So it's like super limited when he does it. I
Mhm.
guess maybe Hunter does have something like that in him, but I just don't see it being like he's playing every snap at wide receiver, then playing every snap at corner. I think
No,
that's
no, I
just,
didn't mean every snap. I
yeah,
meant I could,
yeah,
I could see
maybe.
where um
I could see it more being game to game.
was
Like,
it
this
Josh
game, we
Norman?
want you as a receiver, but this next game, we're missing corners, so we want you to switch there. Like, it might be that might be a thing where it's like game to game might
Josh
change.
Norman. Maybe I don't know. It was. I'm pretty sure it was a cornerback or a safety, and I'm pretty sure that he played on the other side. Like not always, but he
Hmm.
did do some snaps
Yeah,
on the other side.
certain packages.
Yeah.
The Patriots guy last year. Can't think of his name, but yeah, he was a corner, and they would play him on offense and give him these like, jet sweeps, and he would score on it. So
Yeah. Okay. I
yeah,
just.
no, it might, maybe you're right. Maybe I was being a little too harsh on him.
All right. So I'm gonna do the best thing I saw this week. Maybe. No, I'm not. Because
Oh,
I don't know that I didn't see any really. I mean, I lost my watch at Target, and
oh,
Target's not close to me. And I came home. I didn't realize it till I got home that I didn't have my watch on. And I was like, did I put it on? So you put the Find Watch, and it said, oh, your watch is at Target. So I go back to Target, 30 minutes back, take Jackie with me in the car because he was outside using the bathroom when I realized it. And some man turned it in, found it in the parking lot, was in Target's Lost and Found. I'm like, ah,
oh.
this is the best day ever. So maybe that was it.
Parking lot, so it must have just like fallen off,
Yeah,
or
it's the yeah, I need a new band. It's like my band falls off like at weird times. So I could see
they
like
don't sell any of those at Target. Clearly,
I could see it falling off because at Target the way I was pulling bags out of the thing, which even shouldn't be the word. Target is one of those places where I go and I'm like, I'm gonna go to Target, I'm gonna go to King Super, and I just spend all my money in Target because why wouldn't I? They have really big bags and they have really good stuff no matter where you go in Target. This is like a Target commercial. Oh, we should probably do an underdog promo at the same time. Hey, are you guys betting today? Because you should. Apparently, this Washington Oregon college game is like the shit. So if you're gonna bet, and you should, and you haven't yet, you should go to Underdog. Go to Underdog. GF2 is the 100 deposit match promo code that you need. And you know what? You can even bet on there's some kind of golf thing that's really popular right now that's going on. Some girl, I don't know what's happening. I don't follow golf at all, but it keeps showing up on my ESPN that she might make the cut. Is she trying to make the cut in the guys tournament? Is that what's going on?
Yeah.
There
Was
you
it
go.
Lincecum? Yeah.
Yeah. So you can bet on her if you think she's going to make the cut. NHL started. Bet on NHL. Connor got his first goal. That bet's going to be gone, but
Game
you can
2.
bet on us. All
First
right.
point, first game, first goal, second game. Yeah.
I know, right?
Going good for
He looks
Chicago.
so young too. He is young, but I mean, he
Yeah.
looks extremely young. And then, or World Series about to happen.
Yeah.
Bet on that. Sorry for all you guys that bet on the Dodgers and the Braves. I personally said Google says Patrick Ricard. Patrick Ricard, what, Terry? I don't understand her references sometimes.
That's the two-way player thing.
Oh, okay. See, Kyle's with you. Teacher to teacher. There you go. Teachers think alike. Or you can bet on the World Series. Personally, putting my money on the Phillies, but you do you. Or Dusty
So
Baker.
are they at the World Series yet? I don't really
No,
follow.
it's the divisional
Conference.
championships now.
All right, so it looks like, yeah, okay, I'm looking it up now. So Texas Rangers versus Houston Astros. That's fun, full Texas games. And then
Ooh,
Arizona Diamondbacks versus the Philadelphia Phillies. Can I
yeah,
rant?
yeah, you can, please. I love rants. You know I do. Let's do it.
It makes no sense to me, especially in a sport that plays 162 freaking regular season games. It makes zero sense that the Arizona Diamondbacks are in the playoffs with an 84-78 record when the Seattle Mariners, an
I know.
88-74 record, did not make the playoffs.
I still wanted Seattle to be in. I did, and that's only because
And this came to my attention because there was a point where the Blue Jays might miss the playoffs. And it's like, and honestly, Seattle is outside the playoffs, and there are 3 teams in the playoffs with worse records than them. That makes no sense to me. Stop this whole cowardice thing, especially in a 162 game season. If the Diamondbacks are going to be a random 3rd wild card team in their conference, cross over. Stop being cowards. And this is every sport. The CFL is literally the only sport that isn't a coward enough to have this. If 4th place in the East, or usually it's the West, but if 4th place in one division has a better record than 3rd place in the other division, they steal that playoff spot. They cross over, and as a West team, you'll play in the East. We've seen it happen often. Don't really see it happen the other way. Come on, East. It almost happened this year. Got to say, Saskatchewan sucks so much. Ottawa sucked more, though. Oh, boy, Red Blacks this year, man. But yeah, it makes no sense to me that Seattle doesn't get that last spot instead of Arizona. And even like Miami, like both those wild card teams, like I can understand to a certain extent. Is it Minnesota? Yeah, the Minnesota Twins. They won their division.
Yep.
I'm cool with that in the NFL too. But like if that happens this year in the NFL, where an AFC team has 11 wins and misses the playoffs, but an NFC team with like 9 wins makes it, that makes no sense to me.
It's going to be reversed because the AFC North division sucks. And someone out of that is going to make
Well, I mean, they're not the only division in the conference, though.
Yeah, but someone in that division is going to make it in the playoffs. I would put money on that.
Sure, but I understand, like, okay, you give your division winner automatically in. That's fine. I'm cool with each division winner automatically making it to playoffs, but the wild card teams should be the best record regardless of what conference they're in or the baseball, whatever league they're in. Like, it makes no sense to me that the Diamondbacks made it in the playoffs and Seattle didn't. That should have been Seattle's spot. Even if they're an AL team, they should have got into the NL playoffs and done that just because they had the better record. Especially, like, I guess in football, I can understand you only play 16 games or 17 games now. You don't play every team. Like it is limited. But for baseball with 162 games, the amount of stuff that they have to do through the season, you're telling me Seattle doesn't make the playoffs with 88 wins? It's stupid to me. So I've just completely refused to watch any baseball games this year. A little bit of the Blue Jays games, they got swept, of course, because they're the Blue Jays and they're a Toronto team. Can't have nice things except the Argos.
This is why we can't have nice things.
Anyway, so that's my rant.
Okay, and actually, as far as rant goes, that was pretty mild. I like Canadian rants.
I mean, you can stay on my lawn, Gator, if you're gonna, chill out with me, have a smoke with me or something. But if you're just gonna be hanging around, if you're gonna be an Arizona Diamondback making the playoffs undeservingly, yeah, get off my lawn for sure.
I think the fact that they've made it like in the playoffs and then they swept the team. I mean,
yeah, they swept the Dodgers. I'm pretty sure. I think they swept the first round too.
Exactly. So I think
clearly they've deserved it, but I feel like they didn't actually earn their playoff spot. They kind of got lucky that they got it in because they happened to be in the right league as opposed to Seattle, who was in the other league but had more wins. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
cross over. Stop being cowards, sports leagues.
I well, I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of against this whole everyone gets a trophy thing that our society has kind of moved to. You know what I mean? Like, I, I
So you were like against expanding the playoffs in general, anyway.
yeah, I was. Yeah, I'm a purist. Yeah, the Braves. Oof, that was painful too. The Dodgers. That was. I think watching the Dodgers lose. Like again, I have no dog in this fight because I don't watch baseball until this time, and only because I have a pull with these guys, or these guys have a pull with me, and so I have no dog in the fight. But to watch a team that was so dominant during the season as the Dodgers were get swept because Freddie Freeman and Mookie go like 1 for 21, it hurts. It hurts. It was painful for me to watch that. I'm glad that the underdog, I'm always for the underdog. So I'm
Yeah.
glad that the underdog won, but I want it. Can you make it a little
Very
more
pro underdog here on the show.
Yeah. Can you make it a little more, I don't know, competitive? You got swept. And this is like the second time, I think. And you're coming out of winning 100 games during the season. That's just
I mean, this is the Dodger way, though, right? Like they've like for like the last decade, it seems like they're always in the playoffs. They always win their division, and I think they have one title. So they got that 1 year they finally got it, but almost every other year they somehow collapse in the playoffs. They don't usually. I don't think it's usually this early though. Like they're usually in the conference, the CS or the whatever.
yeah.
I usually use baseball as a siesta. Oh,
Oh, I
baseball's
mean
on. I'm asleep.
to, to the division. They usually, yeah, but
They
this
usually, or
was,
even to the World Series, but yeah, they. This is a little
this,
earlier even for them to.
yeah, it was so much pain. There was so much pain involved in that, and that's why I kind of turned it to something else was on, something more spectacular. Oh, Loki. So I turned it to Loki.
Yeah, that's definitely way better than baseball. That's for sure. I actually
It,
noticed this. I was I got the Game Show Network here on Bell. The fantasy footballers are on TV. Like they're not just no longer like just a strictly podcast, YouTube, internet thing. Like they were legit on TV. So I thought that was pretty cool. Obviously, ESPN has their own fantasy show, but for the fantasy footballers themselves, this independent podcast, just fantasy football
I
people like us, to actually be on TV, I thought that was pretty wicked. So I ended up watching that on TV last night too.
they're really good guys.
Oh yeah, they're super awesome.
But I can't watch ESPN fantasy anymore. Although, let me take
I've
that
never
back.
watched ESPN Fantasy. I just happen to
Really?
see like it's like because we get TSN is a ESPN subsidiary, so we'll get on TSN sometimes ESPN shows broadcast.
Um, yeah.
Liz Loza's on there now, so I mean
Who
Liz Loza.
on
She used to be with
ESPN?
she used to be with Yahoo Fantasy, but now she's on the flagship ESPN Fantasy show.
I was watching the fantasy show, and it was Phil Yates, who I love. I love Phil Yates, and the guy that used to be on with Barry before he left. They had the show on their own, Dopa or something. His name is ex-military. Really, he used to do like the crazy things, but he's really knowledgeable. He was on. It was three guys. There was no girl, so I don't know what it was. Fantasy. I just turned it on for a
It was just an
second.
episode maybe where Liz wasn't on.
Yeah.
She deserves a break too. She works hard. Liz Loza's awesome.
But your car surround sounds, baby. What? What is Yeti saying? I don't understand that.
Oh, he's probably listening to us on
Oh.
or he listens to us on like audio version, like after the fact.
Okay. Yeah, so I watch like there's one on CBS now. I don't even know what it's called. I watch that every now and then. I find that the guys that do podcasts, or it feels like, okay, I don't know that this is a true statement, but the guys that do podcasts are way more knowledgeable, not maybe they get their knowledge across better than the guys on TV, like the ESPN guys. The guys on I can watch a podcast and I can't remember this guy's name. And we had this discussion last time you were here. And I should know because I just watched him, but he's on the Pat Mayo, but he also has his own thing with Ship It Now, the guy that left Run Sports and him do this thing. They don't have a podcast, but I mean, there is subscription only, I think, service. And Tyler, his first name is Tyler. I remember that because that's my last name, but I can't ever remember his last name. And
Not Taylor.
No, but it begins with a T. But he's really smart, and he gives his information, right? and he always gives the reason for his information. And then you turn on like, and I'm not just bagging on ESPN, but you turn on ESPN and it's kind of like fluff. There's just a lot of fluff.
They're I mean they're I suppose there's a few factors behind that. A is you have the constraints of time, right? In this, okay, this like 45-minute TV broadcast, like you've got to get the absolute most important things out. So there's going to be a lot that will be lost. You know, hour plus podcast, hour and a half podcast. Sometimes you can go a lot deeper and provide a lot more information. So like the
Um,
podcast medium
First
just
of all,
allows us to.
I do not have the attention span to watch an hour and a half podcast.
That's fair.
Like, I and second of all, usually when I'm listening to the podcast, I'm like watching a murder mystery on TV, so I can like closed caption read. So I'm multitasking. So it has to be something interesting because I have to. It has to keep my attention.
You've got a
But
really strong corpus callosum then.
yeah, I've heard that before. It's like not the first time. Just kidding. I have no idea what you're
Probably
talking
from men, because men traditionally have like very tiny corpus callosums. We can't
Yeah.
do anything in. Oh, ooh, a butterfly.
about. Exactly.
Oh, what? Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, bartend with
There's no
guys.
butterflies here. It's way too cold.
That is the first thing you notice when you bartending with a guy. Women are way better multitaskers behind the bar than men are. Guys are
And
like,
to like not get political, and this shouldn't even be political, but like someone who's transgender,
Mhm.
and they say that like biological man, but they say that they are female. If you were to autopsy their brain, you'd probably find a larger corpus callosum. So generally, what you should do with people is if they're telling you something that this is how I believe and how I feel, this is what my brain is telling me, believe them because it's probably true.
what their brain is telling them. Yeah,
Regardless of
yeah,
what the rest of your body's saying, the brain is the most important thing. And if a transgender person is like, and they've done it because unfortunately suicide rates are very high with members of the LGBTQ plus community relative to everyone else, but certainly for transgender people it's even higher. So they've had opportunities to do a lot of autopsies on brains and stuff like that, and they show that however they identify gender, for the most part, that's how their brain is going to be
wired.
physically wired. But so like if we could see each other's brains, it would be kind of this like, oh, then they're clearly male or they're clearly female. It just because we can't see that, we go with the things we can see. Oh, that person has a beard, they must be male, or like it's the stereotypical male features or female features, and that's all we go off of. But really, the most important thing to go off of is the brain. So,
Gator, I have no idea who Sheldon Cooper is. So
Big Bang Theory.
oh, Sheldon.
I'm not
That
nearly
his
as
last
smart as
name?
Sheldon. I might
Cooper.
have a learning disability like him though, but yeah, my wife claims I'm ADHD. So
What? Would Sheldon go on a rant like that? No.
he just talks like that though. He's not
Oh,
even rants.
okay.
He has so much information to talk that like a normal standard sentence for him feels like a rant compared to everyone
Ah,
else's standards.
Terry loves that show. I could never really get into it. I think
I'm a
because of
nerd, so I liked it.
I think because of Sheldon. Like he's very mean. I took him as being very mean, and
He does lack a lot of empathy at times.
yeah, and I'm not like I get that enough outside.
It's part of it's. I'm pretty sure he's on the spectrum,
Yeah,
autism somewhere, but just so high functioning that like you know
well, and a lot of autistic people are very high
yeah,
functioning, aren't they?
yeah. It's that Brian Ford. I mean, he's talked about it on Dynasty Saturday Night 5. He was on press coverage as well earlier this season with me, and yeah, he's talked a lot about that. And
Yeah, I mean,
Brian's super smart, man. Yeah, he's autistic, but super great, super nice. And he seems a lot more empathetic than Sheldon, though. So that's not even just like, oh, he's autistic. He's autistic. He has no empathy. Like that's just
well, I think, yeah, I mean, morning, Jesse. Um, I think that
hi, Jesse. It's funny. My co-host on the Packers pod is Jesse as well, so I'm going to go talk to Jesse after this.
see, you have two Jessies to talk to. I just I find like I've watched a lot of shows that like older shows again, like Suits and what's the other one that I was watching, and I find that when I watch them now, and I don't know if it's because of age that I have am older and less patient, that I hate it when people are mean, like purposely mean on a show. The character is written so that he's a
Isn't
dick.
that a show about lawyers?
Yeah, but it's
What would you expect?
all of them aren't like that. It's just that one guy. Like Harvey acts like he's mean, but he's not. You know what I mean? He has Gina Torres, whom I love. Jesus, she like always plays a badass, and she's always dressed to the nines. I love her. She's on it. She's not mean. It's just the one guy, and he's such a dick to everyone, and he tries to undermine everyone. And I'm like,
You're such a positive person, Glass. You want
this.
everyone to be nice to
Oh
everyone, but there are a lot of mean people
no,
on this planet.
you do not even know. I'm
Okay.
walking the dogs yesterday at 4 o'clock in the morning, 4:30 in the morning, and this guy's pissing on the building, which I don't care. It's not my building. I don't care. And I think it was part of it was when he turned around, he was embarrassed because I saw him pissing on the building, and I have 2 dogs with me. And so instead of like he's crossing the street, right? He wants to get on the other side of the street from where we are. But instead of doing that, he walks towards the dogs, which dick. And then he goes, of course, because the dogs were like kind of jumped at him. He goes, I'll kill him. And I'm like, dude, these dogs are not your biggest problem. And they have a home where they pissing outside is kind of mandatory, not mandatory, optional for them. And he's like, shut the fuck up. And I'm like, you started it. Quit walking towards my dogs. What do you think they're going to do at 4 o'clock in the morning when some stranger walks towards them? I'm just leaving now. Good idea. People, use some sense, first of all. Yeah, you're going to piss on a building? That's fine. Go ahead. I don't care. I don't care. But you
Yeah,
know
the
what?
building doesn't actually have feelings or
Yeah,
emotions,
it
but the
doesn't
dogs
care.
do.
It doesn't
Those
care.
are
But
living
don't
creatures.
walk towards the dogs when you know you're going to get a reaction and then act like you're a badass. Because A, I might just let the little dog go after you. And B, they're not your biggest problem. You touch my dog and I'm going to hurt you so bad. So bad. You don't even know. And like I said, they have a home where pissing inside is optional. Although Missy took that at heart. And so she's decided that pissing inside will be a mandatory thing for the whole weekend. Like, I wasn't talking to you, Missy. Piss outside. That's what you're supposed to do. She's like, nope, I heard you.
Or use the toilet.
Exactly.
Guy who yells at dogs and dogs themselves just don't know how to use toilets. Who would have thought?
His stick. Well, that's why I carry a blade with me, Jamie, because I could cut his dick off. I have a really, when I first came here and I was walking home at night from work, one of the kitchen managers gave me a blade, which apparently is illegal. The size of the blade is illegal in Colorado, but I carry it with me because why not? I mean, you never know. I could use it. I haven't used it yet. I haven't had the
Hooray.
opportunity.
I'm glad you haven't been attacked and felt the need to stab someone with a knife. That's great. I'm very
Sometimes I
happy
don't
for
even
you.
need to be attacked and feel the need to stab someone with a knife. Sometimes
Yeah,
I
they might
just
threaten
want to stab people with a knife. Exactly. Walking too close to me. Ugh.
breathing
Yeah.
my air. Ugh.
Yeah.
Give that
Talking.
air back.
Give
Stab
it
your
back
lungs and
now.
I'm kind of
Yeah.
happy I don't live in the United States. Like I said, not that there's no violence or like discrimination or racism or sexism here in Canada, because there definitely is, but like seems like there's just way less,
Um,
way less people. So it's probably it.
no, there's probably just way less. Canadians have this reputation for being just like the gentlest, nicest people. I don't know why, but here in America, that is the reputation Canadians have.
Yeah, there's a lot of Canadians that aren't gentle, nice people. I can tell you that for sure. But I'm sure there's some Americans like you, for instance, super gentle, nice, awesome, empathetic. There's Canadians like
Terry,
that too.
Terry, let
Yeah,
them know.
Terry's great, Jamie's great, Jesse's great. And literally everyone in this chat is awesome. So thanks for showing up
Uh,
and hearing my ranting.
uh, yeah, Jesse's super great. Jesse was a manager at the bar, one of the bar I worked at, and she was that manager that if you pissed her off, she didn't really say anything. You just had to look at her face and know that you should probably stop talking and walk away. And I love that about her. That was like my favorite trait about her. That and the fact that she made this for me. Yes. It says my
Oh,
dogs and I talk shit about you.
that's awesome.
Yeah, I know, right? Jesse's awesome. And again, if you guys are on Instagram, Kyle, are you on Instagram?
No, I'm
What
not
the
yet.
if you guys are on Instagram, you need to go to Jesse's Instagram account because she has pictures of she does like stuff like this all the time. I don't know why she doesn't start selling stuff, but her front yard is Halloween and themed now, and it's awesome. Kyle equals Sheldon and Gladys equals Lauren. Oh, yeah.
Lauren
Wait.
Bobbitt? I thought they were talking about her on Speak On It a couple weeks ago, and from what they were saying, you're nothing like her.
Yeah, I'm not, but well, I'm gonna let Gator have that one because it's 9 o'clock in the morning, or sort of
9:46.
9:46 in the morning. My face, yeah. Jesse, I don't think that's trouble. I think people should look and know when to stop. That's what facial features are for. Oh, Lie to Me. That was the other show I was watching.
Ah, love
I
Tim Roth.
Oh, I know, right? The first thing I saw him in, what Rosenstack and Guildenstern are dead, and ever since then, anything he's in, I will totally watch it. I will watch it. He is awesome. And Lie to Me is an awesome show. If you guys, it's on Hulu, I think now. If you didn't see the first round of it, like it gets kind of stupid, like third season, fourth season, but the first two seasons are spectacular.
I haven't watched nearly enough. I know my wife loves the show. I'm pretty sure we have like all the seasons on DVD, so I don't even need Hulu.
Yep. Oh, Lie to Me on DVD.
I know she has several seasons of it. Yeah.
What? That's
Yep.
awesome. I think I
Yeah.
love your wife.
Oh,
Yeah.
me too.
That's
Why she's my wife.
that's awesome. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
we both collect a lot of DVDs and TV series, and I thought I had a lot, but then wow, her collection is
What
massive.
are your top three?
Oh, for me, TV shows,
Yeah.
19-2 for sure is number one.
Wait, what's number one? I'm sorry.
19-2.
I don't know what that is.
So it's a Canadian show, so a little Canadian bias there.
Okay.
I honestly, it might be on Hulu. Honestly, if you're in the States, I can't
It's
remember.
19-2.
Yes. So
Right.
there are actually two versions of the show created. One is a French version, one is an English version. Both versions take place in Montreal. The idea
Okay.
that it is one of the most pure bilingual cities in Canada. And essentially, it follows two police officers. In the 19th precinct, their car number is number 2, so hence 19-2.
Okay.
And because it's the title of the show is written in numbers,
Oh.
19-2, you don't have to change the title from the English to French version. The numbers are the same. So that was part of the genius of it. It's one of the best filmed TV shows I've ever seen in my life,
All right,
especially
I'm
the
on
French version. It's
Mm.
unreal. It's 3 seasons of just. I guess my second favorite show is Breaking Bad, and the reason I love both shows is honestly, like those aren't shows you watch to feel great and happy about humanity. This is the real dread of like this is what humans are like. This is what life is like. They don't.
Uh-huh.
Neither show pulls any punches. The acting is phenomenal in both. The storytelling's fantastic. The camera work is unreal. The season 2 premiere of 19-2, and this is the same for both versions, English and French. There is a sequence of like a continual shot of a camera that I'm pretty sure it's 13 minutes long. Just the same sequence, continuous shot all the way through. And the English version actually got the French director to direct that episode just because of how good he did in the French version.
Uh-huh.
He direct the director in the French show directed the entire series, which that's pretty rare. You don't usually see one director from the start of the show to the finish of the show. Very rarely even see one writer.
Mhm.
So that's the one thing about that show. It's only 3 seasons for the French version. The English version is 4 seasons. I love that it's short because it's the part of you were saying about Lie to Me, right? Like eventually they outlive
Right.
their lifespan and then they got too far off the rails. Like this was a show. This is 3 seasons. We planned it to be 3 seasons. Once that third season's up, it's done. Breaking Bad, the same thing. It's 5 seasons. We could have gone on for longer, but no, we're cutting it off when the story actually ends. We're not going to drag it on further than what we needed to. So yeah, those would be shows 1 and 2 for me. Probably throw in True Detective as my number 3 show.
All seasons or the first season?
I actually really love the third season as well.
Oh yeah.
Season 2 not so great. Season 2 is fine, but it's by comparison to season 1 and 3, it's not as good. Those are two of the seasons 1 and 3 are two of the best seasons of television I've ever seen. Again, great camera work, great acting, great storytelling, and phenomenal.
Who was in season 3? Who were the two detectives in season 3?
Marshala Ali. Is the
Oh,
main
really?
character. Yeah.
Okay.
It
I don't think I've
follows. It's
Marshall Ali.
unlike the first 2 seasons. It's very much him. He's got a
Okay.
partner, but it really does follow him. Like but like it's not a.
I love him. He's great.
Oh, he was phenomenal. It's honest, and the way that the show works in season 3, he's got to play himself at 3 different ages of his life. One is like the early 80s, one is the early 90s, and then one is like modern, like 2010s, 2011 type thing. So he's
That's
having
awesome.
to play great makeup work, of course, but I've always
Right.
loved that when actors have to play different versions of themselves.
Yeah.
There's a show called Orphan Black,
Yeah.
Canadian show.
I haven't watched it.
My
I've
God,
seen. I know.
Tatiana Maslany, unreal performances. How she has to play so many different versions of herself as clones, but they're
Right.
all unique and distinct, and like her accent changes, her mannerisms change. It's phenomenal, and you can see that like how it's the same character with that Marshala Ali plays, Hayes, Detective Hayes. I can't remember his first name for some reason, but like you can see how part of his life, the things he's experienced have changed him slightly, and he's got to kind of change. It's still the same guy, but he acts slightly different in each of the 3 versions. So that ability for those actors to kind of change themselves within one role is just phenomenal. So yeah, season 3 I definitely recommend.
I've heard good things about Orphan Black. I haven't watched it, but I've heard really good things about it.
Great show.
True Detective, yes, it's just a little grittier than I like. And
Well, that'll be 19 as well. So,
oh,
yeah, I love those shows.
and Breaking Bad, the only episode I've ever seen of Breaking Bad is the one where I don't even know his character in Breaking Bad. Giancarlo comes into the hospital.
Box Cutter.
He comes into the hospital bed.
Oh,
The
never
guy,
mind. Oh,
no,
that thing. Okay, yeah.
yeah, and it
Not the
blows up.
season 4 premiere, the season 4 finale. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was the finale. Of
The
season
nursing
4.
home. Yeah.
And he walks out, and then half
Retirement
his
home.
face is gone.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, and I'm out. That's all I need to see of this, and I'm done.
I mean, that's really the only time you see that. So I would say rewatch the show. You don't have to watch the season 4 finale. You already know how it ends. And just skip over that episode and rewatch the rest. It is pretty can be pretty brutal at times and pretty gruesome. So yeah.
He's another actor though that I think is really good, and the guy that plays the lead in Breaking Bad,
Bryan
like
Cranston. Yeah.
he's one of my favorite shows is Total Recall, the second one, the remake with Colin Farrell
Okay.
as the character, and mainly because Colin Farrell is the character. But anyway, but Bryan Cranston plays like this small role in it. Like he's the antagonist, but he doesn't actually interact, and you still remember him. Like that is like one of the characters. He's so forceful in this small role that it's like
Apparently, the reason he was chosen for Breaking Bad is Vince Gilligan, who was the writer director for Breaking Bad. He directed an episode of The X Files, and Bryan Cranston was on it. And I guess as the villain of the week for that week, and he had made such an impact that Vince Gilligan remembered that. So when he eventually
nice.
to develop Breaking Bad, Cranston was one of the first guys he went to.
That's
And
awesome.
the studio did not like it. Like, you sure about this? Like Malcolm in the Middle dad, like it's kind of campy for us, right? And that was a legit concern. Like, is he really the actor we want for this? And Vince Gilligan was very adamant. Like, oh no, he is. He forget what he does in Malcolm in the Middle. He is the guy for this. And they auditioned him. The studio was still hesitant, and then the first screen test, the first episode they filmed, they were okay. Yeah, all right, we see what you're seeing.
I think it's that juxtaposition though too that makes that character so great, because you're thinking of him as this benign father figure, and he's like
that transition he's very tame.
Exactly.
My God, that season 1 is such a journey because of how far he has to go in such a short period of time. By episode 6, at the end of it, you're like, what? He did that?
He's so good. He's
a whole handful of nothing. That's it. Wow.
Yeah. The new shows, like what's the one on Apple TV that with
don't have Apple TV.
With Jennifer Aniston, talk show. It's Jennifer
the morning
Aniston,
show.
The morning show.
I don't have Apple TV, but I know what that is.
Yeah,
I watch too many commercials. I hate
like the first season was good. Like you understood, and then now it's just kind of, although John Hamm's in it, so it makes it preponderously better. But it's just it's one of those shows that they could have probably ended it after the first season, and you would have been okay. You know what I mean? I just have a problem when things get too redundant, I guess. Yeah. Well,
too far away from the original concept.
Yeah, from the concept,
travel to a certain spot.
Like Ted Lasso was supposed to end when it ended. He said that's how many seasons he wanted. That's what they did, and you can tell it's just like
they planned it out to have it end there.
Exactly, and if that's where it ends, and that's over.
When you plan it and then you don't end it, then things seem
different. NBA Rig, what's up, NBA Rig? They want to know the thrilling part of how they told the story.
Okay, so the general plot of 19-2. So this police officer named Ben Chautier, up until the start of the show, he's working for the SLQ. I don't even know how you would consider that. But it's like a provincial police, almost
like a district.
Yeah,
like a sheriff.
You're right. Yes, like almost like how sheriffs operate. That's I guess the best version of it. And so he's out in his small community. He had been there for years, and then suddenly he comes to the city, and he's going to be a cop, kind of like fresh faced in the big city. Like he's never been in a big city this big before. They call him le brebis, like he's a deer almost in headlights when he comes. They kind of use that reference throughout the show with him. It's the deer's in town, just not used to the big city. So it's him, and then the partner he's assigned with. The French version, his name is Nick Bedoff. He's Bulgarian descent in Montreal. In the English version, it's what's the actor's name? Adrian. He's black, and so they don't make him Bulgarian in the English version. His name's Nick Barron. So whether it's Nick Bidoff or Nick Barron, he's the established cop that's lived in Montreal his whole life, and we see the very not so much spoilers because the very first scene we see Nick with his old partner, and we see something happens to his old partner, and now it's honestly it's not that different than Training Day. There's a lot of aspects in which are similar to Training Day, but yeah, it's the dynamics of these two partners being put together. Nick doesn't want to, he's still worried about Harvey, his old partner, and what happened to him, and it's still clearly affecting him, and he's hoping to just come back and do solo. He doesn't want to have a new partner. He doesn't want to have to learn. And so there's a lot of resistance between the two, even though they're partners working together. They really don't like each other, especially at the start. Even that really follows through the whole series. It's in a sense, it's the things I like the most about Fast and Furious. When Brian and Vin Diesel's character, I can't think of his name right now, Dominic, they work together, but they don't fully trust each other. It's this like dynamic of neither is really sure if they can fully trust the other. I love that about the first movie, and I love that about the fourth movie. Everything after that, they seem like, oh, we're buddy, everything's good. We've been through enough that we know it now. But like those first that
Right.
tension-filled dynamic at the start is super interesting to me, and that's definitely a case with 19-2. There's a reason that Chartier is put with Bidoff. It's not out of both of their controls. There's something else going on, and I don't want to spoil it because you discover it. There's kind of this big revelation at the end of season 1 that's like, oh my god, so that's what this is about, and then that really sets up all of season 2. And honestly, season 2 of 19-2, whether it's French or English version, because the English version really changes starting season 3, then it becomes kind of a totally new story. But the English version and the French version are essentially the same story of the first 2 seasons. That second season is just wild. It's incredible. There's this mystery aspect to it. You're trying to figure it out. They're trying to figure things out. Chartier is trying to figure out what's going on. So there's this dynamic of that mystery. Again, it's a very, I say it's a very gray tone show. It's not overly colorful and bright. Like, this is very gritty, very like, this is life. This is real life. This is what police officers have to deal with in real life in Montreal. This is what humans have to deal with in real life in Montreal. And it's
Yeah, I like shows that are not as pretty. If I have to deal with it, I want to not see it on TV. Do you know what I mean?
fair enough. You're trying to escape reality.
Yeah, I like escapism. It's my favorite thing, actually, one of my favorite things, which is why I watch Hamilton like over and over again because it's great escapism.
Sports, right? Sports are an ultimate escape. For all of
Sports
us.
are ultimate escapism.
Life's going bad. Everything sucks. Let me work my fantasy team. That'll be good. I have full control.
Well, no, because my fantasy team sucks. But
At least you have control over. You can make the decisions
Do
of
I?
who to start every week.
I?
Yeah, I guess.
Really? I don't.
I have a
think so.
couple 0-5 teams, so I feel you. Zombie
Oh.
League, for instance. Julia kicked my butt last week. Everyone's kicked my butt every week. So,
I think I'm playing a zombie this week.
uh-oh. So
No.
here's my advice for you, Gladys.
Huh?
Make sure, like, if you lose and they have to steal one of your players, like in your mind, be ready to like, what are the players you want to keep?
Okay.
You have to make sure you have another player of that position on your bench. So if you want to potentially keep your quarterback, pick up a backup quarterback and have them in case the zombie doesn't steal your quarterback. Because the way it works in the zombie league, you can protect one player after the zombie steals it. You can protect a player, but you have to drop a player at the same position to replace them. So like,
I think
know
Jeff explained that to me, and I think when I drafted, I purposely drafted like one player for each position that I knew I wasn't going to play.
as backups. Okay,
As
that's smart.
backups,
Good
just in
foresight.
case.
I kind of like 2 weeks ago when I played a zombie. I think it was Jamie actually. I made sure. Oh, I didn't have a quarterback to back up Jalen Hurts. So I went and picked up Brock Purdy just in the off chance that Jamie
Oof.
didn't steal Jalen Hurts from me. Spoiler alert: he stole Jalen Hurts from me. So now I at least still have Brock Purdy to ride with. But like if he had, I think I protected Michael Pittman. So I had to also make sure I had an extra wide receiver because it happened a couple weeks ago where someone lost to the zombie. They had a player stolen, and then they wanted to protect another player, but I think it was a running back, and they didn't have another running back on the bench. So
Oh.
they couldn't, so they had to protect a different player. So just make sure of that.
I'll double
Whoever the
check.
players you want to protect, but it seems like you already planned that out draft wise. So
I did, but and I haven't really picked up very many people in that league because when do they release the players? Like I don't. It doesn't. Maybe
It's
I don't know.
Tuesday, right? So like if the zombie beats someone, they have to drop their team on the like the Tuesday. So it's set for that like Tuesday waiver run. You have
Okay.
all those players available.
All right. All right. Yeah.
You know what though?
Okay.
If you've got the most money at the end of the year, and there's still and with the amount of zombies we have in the league, there's still going to be zombies losing. And
Yeah.
also, like if you become a zombie, you can spend a lot of your money to try and
Get players
win
back.
back all the players you had to drop too. So
You're dropping just the starting players, right?
just the starters, yes.
Okay.
Your opponent
Um,
steals one of your starters, you get to protect another
Check one
starter, and then the
starter, and
rest
then
of your
everyone else
starters.
goes. All right. I have to reevaluate my life again this afternoon. All right. So I think we've gone over our time, but it's okay because it was good combo. And now I have another. Well, no, I'm not going to watch 19-2. I don't even know why I said that. We know now I'm not going to watch it because I can't even watch Training Day. I can't watch Denzel play a bad guy. I can't. It goes against everything I believe in.
It's super fun though. Training Day is awesome.
Yeah, no.
I'm sure he had fun playing a villain. Not gonna lie.
I
I
think
hear that from actors who are used to playing heroes all the time. That the one chance they get to play a villain, it's kind of fun being bad for once.
I think he likes playing the equalizer guy. I think that because that is the only what is it called? That's the only movie that he's made more than one of the same movie. That's the
True.
only in his whole life. But I read somewhere that Samuel L. Jackson, and it made me so happy, said that his favorite movie to make was The Long Kiss Goodnight, which is absolutely one of my top 3 favorite
Huh.
movies. I love that movie so much.
Yeah, I had a feeling it wasn't going to be Star Wars.
No, I don't. He likes his lightsabers. I mean,
Yeah, he loved having the purple lightsaber.
yeah, he did. Samuel L. Jackson's a strange bird. That's
I
why I
know
love him.
Ewan McGregor was less than thrilled about his initial Star Wars experience. I actually don't even think it had anything to do with filming. It was more just suddenly everything else he had done in his whole career didn't matter. All that mattered
Oh,
is that he was Obi-Wan Kenobi. And I think he kind of resisted that for a while, but then eventually he's kind of learned to accept it, and that's why he came back and did the Kenobi series. I thought for sure it would never happen just because of the things he had said about it. Like, okay, he did that trilogy. He kind of wanted to close that door and focus on the rest of his career. He didn't want his whole career to just be defined by the fact that he was Obi-Wan Kenobi.
huh.
Because I mean, I love him in like Moulin Rouge, the train spotting, the men who stare at. Wait, not the men who stare at goats. Yes, the men who stare at goats. He's in that. Yeah, that movie's fun.
I just saw him in Moulin Rouge because I like Moulin Rouge. But the Men Who Stare
Another
at Goats.
DVD Victoria had, and that's how I first watched it. To be honest.
The Men Who Stare at Goats is pretty. Anyway, Kyle, I appreciate you so much.
Yeah, we went a little overboard. I guess my rants took up all the time, so we didn't hit
I
48 minutes.
I love your rants. Your rants are good Canadian rants. Jesse, always appreciate you getting up early with us. Terry, appreciate you. It's not early. It's like 11 o'clock here on East Coast time, but I appreciate you coming in. Gator, always appreciate you. Didn't appreciate the Lauren Bobbitt reference, but it's okay. I'll get over it.
He's salty that his Braves are out. I think that's all.
Yeti, Cuddly Yeti, appreciate you. Cuddly Yeti, Jamie.
Sorry that your Vikings suck so much, Yeti.
Yeah, sorry that Vikings suck. Sorry that the Twins lost. I was actually rooting for the Twins.
I'd much rather the Vikings do well than the Lions, so I am legit sorry about that. Like, damn it, freaking Lions.
Really? Why?
Oh well, we can get into it, but I'm super petty.
Okay, then enough said.
In 1962, 29 years before I was born, the Packers had arguably their greatest season ever. They lost only one game. It's the best point differential they've ever had. I'm pretty sure it's the most points they've ever scored, even though that would have only been a 14 game or a 12 game season,
Right?
maybe 14. So even like the Brett Favre era still didn't put up as many points as that 62 Packers team. They won the championship. They were defending champs anyway. So like this is like we talk about the Vince Lombardi era. Those 2 years, 61, 62 are probably the 2 best years. They had their Hall of Fame center retire the year after. So like the later 60s teams weren't quite as good. That 62 Packers team is the greatest Packers season ever. They lost to the Lions on Thanksgiving. It's their only loss all year. They would have had a perfect season if not for the freaking Lions. So I despise them for that. And then the Jim Caldwell stuff. Like I just felt like they just treated Jim Caldwell so unfairly.
They did.
So such a slap in the face to not only replace him, but replace him with Matt freaking Patricia. Are you kidding me? Man,
I think they got what they deserved. I totally. Karma's
It's
bitch.
funny because the last year for Caldwell, the Lions beat the Packers both times. The first year with Patricia, the Lions beat the Packers both times. And then Patricia's second year, it took 2 Mason Crosby field goals as time expires to win each of those games. So they almost went 6 straight losses to the Lions, which would have just
Oh,
pissed me off so much. But yeah, just the 1962 loss, which I still will never get over, even though it happened 29 years before I was born. And then Jim Caldwell, like, what the hell was that? He's probably the best coach the Lions have had since Buddy Parker in the 60s, when the Lions were actually a good team and won championships. Or 50s, sorry. The 60s, they didn't win championships. They kept running into the Packers. But like, yeah, that was, yeah. So that seemed kind of unforgivable to me. Like, I really felt like Caldwell was treated unfairly. I don't understand why he's still not a head coach now. We have such
yeah.
incompetent head coaches in the NFL, like Matt Eberflus and Josh McDaniels. Like, how is Caldwell not getting jobs? Seriously, the NFL's stupid. So that's part of it too.
I could
And it
think of
seems
a
like
couple
I'll
reasons why
specifically
not
blame that
getting
on the
jobs.
Lions, right? Like,
But
it's, I don't want to say it's racism to replace Caldwell with Patricia, but nothing else makes sense. Like, why would you do that? Like, what possible reason? Because all the talk that I've heard about Patricia, from former Lions players, he's like the most disrespectful coach you've ever seen,
Yeah.
other than maybe Urban Meyer, that doesn't know how to treat human beings properly. I haven't heard a single Lions player ever come out and defend him when Darius Slay has talked bad about him. No one's ever come out and been like, "Oh no, he's wrong." This is so.
Yeah, no.
I accept that as
never-
that's the truth. Like, he's a piece
Not
of
a
shit.
nice
He treats his
human being.
players like shit. That's all. That's Matt Patricia. So kind of
Huh.
insulting that they would do that.
Which is-
Caldwell. So
Because
Screw the
I was
Lions.
reading an
I never want to see them
article
win again.
about New England Patriots, and the writer said that Matt Patricia and Bill O'Brien are almost the same person, except that Bill O'Brien is successful, and so he gets away with it, where Matt Patricia is not as successful and can't get away with being a dick. So yeah, apparently Matt Patricia is not a good human being.
Sure, yeah, because we heard about that. Yeah, there was tension between Bill O'Brien and DeAndre Hopkins because he had too
Yeah.
many baby mamas or something. Like,
Yeah,
what, Bill O'Brien? Are you stupid? Like, are you serious
He is.
here?
stupid. And I agree with NBA Rig. Tom Cruise played the best bad guy in Collateral. Like that was
Yeah,
that is
again,
my
a guy who's
favorite.
used to playing heroes. I'm sure he was excited to finally play a villain.
What, is that the only movie he's played a villain in? Maybe. Okay. He was good. I mean, that is
Wasn't
like
he
probably
technically the villain in Tropic Thunder?
ugh. Yeah, that was awesome. He was awesome in Tropic Thunder. Like
He was
that
very
kid.
convincing. I didn't even realize it was Tom Cruise till after the fact. My
But-
wife's watching, like, you know who that is, right? Like, nope, no idea. Makeup's great.
Bill O'Brien and Mac Jones. I think there's enough blame to go around. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I feel like Bill O'Brien's actually calling a competent offense this year.
Yeah.
I think if you're gonna blame a Bill, I think you blame Bill Belichick, the GM, because this team is not well constructed at all.
No, it's not.
And yeah, Mac Jones. I think it's funny how Mac Jones rookie year. He was the 5th quarterback taken, but he was the best out of it. He and Davis Mills were the 2 best quarterbacks.
That's quarterbacks. Yeah,
Trevor
exactly.
Lawrence sucked. Zach Wilson, of course, sucked because we expected that. Trey Lance didn't play. Fields, he was awful. He eventually kind of started, like the end of the year, you kind of started to see flashes. But like after year 1, it was like, man, the Patriots, they got the best quarterback in that class, Mac Jones. We've swung all the way over to where Zach Wilson might actually be better than Mac Jones now. Like that would have been unthinkable to even say like a month ago. But yeah, clearly Lawrence and Fields are the 2 best quarterbacks in that class. And the Jets messed up not taking Fields. The 49ers messed up trading up for Lance instead of just taking Fields. The Falcons took a tight end higher than ever in history to pass on Fields. The Panthers took a corner instead of taking Fields. Then they had to overpay to get Bryce Young, and they're probably even worse off for that. Like, so many teams just messed up not taking Fields.
I think that we're way too, for whatever reason, we're way too quick to judge, especially quarterbacks when
Yeah.
they come out. Like, I mean, these guys are going from a college system, which probably is not even close to what the NBA system is. They're playing guys that are bigger and faster than anyone they've ever played before. And I don't care if they're picked first, or I don't care if they're Mr. Irrelevant. It's still a time adjustment that they need. Like, I just think that we're way too quick to go, oh my God, he sucks. He's like the worst thing we've ever seen. That kind of rattles my nerves. Like, that is clearly why I'm on the Desmond Ritter train. I think he's better than people are giving him credit for. I think he's in a system that does not value quarterbacks as much as it values the run game and tight ends, which Jonnu Smith, that's all I have to say. Go for John. If you're playing DFS, play Jonnu Smith this week. And
It's funny because I was just watching the Armchair Show, and they were pretty high on Pitts this week in DFS because
Really?
he's finally cheaper than Jonnu Smith.
Oh, is he cheaper than Johnny Smith?
Yeah, in the
Okay,
last
then
couple
go with
weeks,
the
that's
kids.
really flipped. So
Whichever the cheaper tight end in that one is going, because that's what Arthur Smith. That's his offense. But I
I think
mean,
there's something in like he's less than 4,000 finally Pitts.
ooh,
So
I'm all over
like
that.
36, $3,700. So he's cheap enough
So
that I think Jeff mentioned him or the guest.
yeah, I mean, and I think that's like our society on a whole. Like
True.
you,
Yeah.
yeah, you're just way too quick to make fast judgments. I'm probably the worst on that. Like
I would say
I
that's a lot of the discrimination at the heart of it is just people are just so quick to judge that they just judge based on what they see, not like getting to know someone.
know
I
somebody.
think that's
Yeah,
a big factor for racism is just people are just part of it's
dude.
laziness, right? They're just so lazy to actually like get to know someone and judge them based on their own merits that they just judge them based on the color of their skin.
Yeah.
Part of it's also stupidity. I think some people are just so stupid that
I think
they
most
can
people
only judge like on
what
surface
what
level.
they see.
So I think there's a bit of
Um,
incompetence that goes with discrimination as well. Some people
I
are just
think
awful humans that just hate people too. Like there's
the
part of
only
that very
time,
contrite
yeah,
people.
people. The only time Kenny Pickett this season I heard people glowing about him was preseason. Like once the season started, no one's glowing about him. And
Yeah,
but
I've always been trashing Kenny Pickett. I've thought he was awful the whole time.
well, I think that I don't know why they
I've
chose
remained
him.
consistent on that.
Yeah, I don't know why they chose Kenny Pickett as high as they did. I mean, I don't
Yeah,
unless
they
it's
clearly could have got away with taking a quarterback in the fifth round, and it worked. 'Cause,
exactly.
honestly, that looks like Washington made the best choice at quarterback, taking Howell in the fifth. That seems to
Thank
be
you.
working out the best.
I thank you. I mean,
Oh, again, and Jordan Love, another guy I've been trashing nonstop for the start of the year. So,
but you're a Packers guy, so
yeah, no, I was a very pessimistic Packers fan entering the season, and then Jordan Love kind of shut me up the first couple of weeks, and now it's gone back to no, he sucks. This is not a long term solution. He is not going to win the Packers a Super Bowl. You
uh,
get Nathan Rourke. That's been my talk all off season. I've swung back to that. Go get Nathan Rourke.
I think that I don't know. I think we're quick. Wait, okay.
We were quick to call
Everyone,
the end of the episode because that was
yeah,
15 minutes ago.
NBA rigged. Thank you, Jesse. Thank you, Cooper. Thank you if you're still on.
Kevin Green.
That is Jesse's son, Terry,
Aw.
the pisser. I don't know why Terry wrote text me the pisser. I have no idea what that means. And Terry, thank you for joining again. Cuddly Yeti, thank you for joining. Gator, thank you for joining. And
How you
Kyle,
doing?
especially, and NBA Rig. We will take Kyle on anytime he is willing to come on Saturday morning with us. Like it can be a three-way. I love three-ways.
Well, I do have a concert happening on the 28th, but that's like super late at night, so I'll definitely be able to come on the
Wait,
28th, 2 weeks from now.
is
I'll,
2
I'll
weeks
rock
from
the
now?
Yama Yama shirt again because we'll actually be wearing that for the concert this time.
All right, NBA Rig, you heard it. Kyle's on the 28th. Everyone, Kyle's on the 28th with us. Shannon, if you are not being eaten by bears out in the wilderness that you are, have a good time. Everyone else, I love you. Thank you for joining. I appreciate you. I appreciate you getting up with us Saturday morning.
I did not like how Love lost to Vegas and Jimmy G. Packers fan, of course. Of course, I wouldn't like that.
And if you guys join the chat, thank you. We will see you. Well, not Kyle, because apparently he can't come on with us on the 21st, whatever. But Shannon and I will be back on the 21st. We might have Kyle on. He looks like he's thinking about it.
Yeah, I mean, I could. I don't think.
Okay, Kyle will be on the
anything, so yeah,
21st.
we'll go 3
Kyle
weeks in
is
a row,
now
sure.
exactly.
All right, there we go. Thank you,
He
thanks
was
for the
a bad
invite.
guy in Taps. He was a bad guy in Taps. Yes, that does count, Terry. Wow, that's a really old
Oh,
movie.
Tom Cruise or
Yeah,
Denzel?
Tom Cruise.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't think I've ever seen it.
it's
I don't think I've ever heard of it.
it's like Lord of the Rings, but they're
but
not
worse
Lord of,
because everything
not,
is
not
worse
Lord
than
of the
Lord of
Rings.
the Rings.
Lord of the Flies. It's like Lord of the Flies,
Oh, okay.
but it's like military based, and he's a dick. He is a dick in that. It's a really, really. It's like one of his first movies ever. It's good though. And now I am proud to announce, prematurely, I don't care, Kyle Sinra will be part of the No Particular Order podcast host on Saturday morning. I'm so happy. This was a
Sure.
good day.
Yeah, I'll come for the weeks I can for sure.
Yeah, and this is the best thing that happened to me today. Then this is the best thing I've seen all week. Yay! All right, you guys.
Thanks, Gladys.
No, thank you. We will see you guys next week.